Today on Skyrider Limited, it's another practice session. What's up, you guys? It's another training days. I am Jesse. This is Skyrider Limited. Welcome back. So today I am headed out for some practice. It's been about a month since the last time we did this, and couple of things have occurred in that time. First one is the weather here in the Northeast US has been, well, frankly, it's been abysmal. Somehow we're still in a drought, but it has been the rainiest spring to start of summer I think I can remember. It's been damp. It was raining yesterday. Right now, we've got blue sky and a reasonable wind. I think it's right around like 8-ish, which is great. We are about 2 weeks out from the Newport Kite Festival, which is the next time I'm performing. And so while I am still keeping an eye on the ultimate sort of prize here, which is obviously getting ready for Worlds, it's time to dust off the performance routines. The second thing that has occurred is last time when we did this, I said I had some music that I was working on choreographing. Well, in the intervening month, I'm not sure I'm as in love with it as I was. Couple of problems. I'm really struggling to choreograph it. Normally, when I listen to music and I go, "This is going to be something I'm going to fly to," it's because I can hear elements in the music that my brain automatically equates to a trick, an element, a figure, something that I can work with. The problem we are running into today, or should say the problem that we're running into right now, is that piece of music that I edited up back in May. I really love the piece of music, but I'm just not hearing the things. It's proving to be very difficult to choreograph. Now, this should be a problem, but it's not entirely. First of all, I have another piece of music that I started editing this morning, actually, that may end up being the new routine. I don't know. I gotta think about that a little bit more. But I also have some fairly well polished performance routines that I've been using that I think, with some refinement, may just be completable. I can even say, frankly, so at Grand Haven, I asked some friends who had judging experience to kind of watch and listen. And obviously I didn't really have a choreographed plan for that. But on Sunday, I flew that new music. And I think I told you guys that during the last video. And one of the comments I got from Paul from the Fire and Ice Pairs team, Paul says to me, I like the music, but I like what you flew to yesterday better. And that was a routine that you guys have seen on the channel a few times. It's been one of my staple routines for a while now. And that's my my Gladiator music that I've been using for about 3 years now, and is something I've wanted to use, but I had to get better at, audio editing. Pretty much since the movie came out, my dad and I looked at it for pairs at one point. We actually had a workable edit for pairs at one point. I don't really know what happened to that. I'm sure somewhere in our basement is a box of old burned CDs, and that music is on a CD somewhere down there, if I could just go find that CD case. But I have a working edit of that music that I do really like. The issue with that routine, if I can say it's an issue, was I initially wrote that routine around a different kite than I've sort of decided to fly. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by any kite manufacturer, though I have, working relationships with a few of them. So technically I can fly whatever kite I want. So I could just fly the kite I wrote the routine for, and I do have a full set of those. That's Windar Altum, Richard Debray's sort of ballet kite. The thing is, I would really like to take an American kite to Worlds as an American performer. Um, International kites will be well represented. It would be great to get to showcase, what the canvas guys, obviously we've been talking about my intention. So what the canvas guys are doing right now, in Europe, a place where I would estimate is probably their smallest. Europe or Asia. I don't know how many kites have made it where, but my suspicion is, outside of the Americas, I don't think there's just that many of their kites running around yet. So it'd be cool to get to help showcase what I view as a really wonderful kite. Um, so I'm working on adjusting the routine, the timing for how I fly the intention versus how I fly the ultim, and some of the things that the intention excels at versus the ultim strengths, because every kite obviously has a slightly different balance of things and therefore a slightly different performance profile. So today is going to be me working through that routine. I also have another dual line routine that I've been using. And I'm also going out to practice quad line. Now, I am not flying quad at Worlds. John Baressi's going to fly individual quad line for the US. So that is purely for Newport, but you will get a little bit of a look at that because that's what today's practice session is going to be. So first I have to go stop by my storage unit and pick up my kites. I had a work thing, so normally the kites that are just like ubiquitous in the back of my car they're not there right now. Instead, that really rattly table you can probably hear in the background is there. So I got to swap that out, and my bike work stand back there out for a whole bunch of kites, because I've also, once I'm done practicing through the routine satisfactorily, that'll be probably 45 minutes or an hour if everything goes smoothly. We'll run each routine a few times. Then I'm going to do some filming for the YouTube channel, hopefully, with some of the vintage kites you may have seen on a recent kite bag tour. So everybody just, strap in, hang around, grab a snack, and we're going to head off to one of my super secret flying spots. Well, if you can see behind me right now, you know that I didn't just pick up just the kites I need. I was at the storage unit and I was sort of grabbing stuff. And I was like, you know what? Why am I not just loading up for Newport? So now you can see behind me when I'm driving to a festival just how much gear that actually entails. The one thing I have to find, it may actually be in the storage unit and I may end up having to come back anyways, is my pairs and team lines. There's a pretty good chance my dad's going to come hang out for a day at Newport, and we'll fly some pairs demos just because we can. So in the back there's my quad line bag and my festival bag, which is sort of my main dual line kites. Then you've got my freestyle fun bag that's also kind of core kites. Then you got the bag that's full of the stuff I just restored. So what I call my filming bag, which is all the stuff I want to get on video for you guys. And then I've got my easy ups and banners and chairs and a table because particularly at Newport, but anytime I drive somewhere, I bring a whole bunch of, easy ups and chairs and stuff. And, anybody who doesn't have a place to hang out has a place to hang out that way. under my tents. Sort of, just another one of my ways of like trying to help out where I can. Some shade and shelter, and a place to grab a seat for any wayward kiter. Um, as I like to refer to it, the Skyrider Limited Hospitality Suite. Um, so yeah, so now it's off to go fly, and we're gonna take a look at a couple different spots. I probably should have looked up like town schedules for Pee Wee, Pee Wee soccer and Little League baseball games, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna go kind of stick my nose at a couple of spots and see what's open. We'll go from there. All right. While we're here, I figured I might as well show you my now well-traveled main bag again. So I've been using a Prism launch pad pretty much since they came available. I really like roll bags. I like how I can kind of see everything I have with me, how organized it keeps me. I like that I can shake the sand out of it a lot easier. At least I feel like I can do it a lot easier. Ignore this for a minute. That's a conversation for another time. So here's what's in the main bag right now.
Are you not entertained?
So, quick pause for some equipment change. I don't usually come here to this spot with the wind in this direction, but I was time pressed, so I didn't want to spend, an hour driving each way today. And so this is kind of good practice for like weird squirrely wind, but I did have heavier line than I really needed on, and it was making things interesting when the wind went light. So, quick change for some lighter wind and headphones back on. Out. So, that was interesting. Um, you might have just watched in real time as my plans totally just changed. So, that routine, for preface, because I didn't really tell you what was going on when we went into this, but for reference, that routine and the one before it are my two normal dual line routines that I've been flying for a while now. The first one the Gladiator routine we were talking about on the drive over. That one is to Dvorak's Symphony for the New World. I think it's a Symphony number 9, fourth movement. Don't come for me if I'm wrong here. The thing is, I wasn't really focusing on it because somebody flew to a different mix of that music at Worlds last year. Now, here's the thing. I have always been sort of raised and brought up that you don't use the same music as somebody else. Whoever got to it first in competition, it's their music. So he flew it in competition first. He or she, I actually don't remember who flew it. They flew it in competition first, so it was their music. I am going to have to do some thinking and also see if that person is showed up at like the Euro Cup that just went by and if they're active, because if they've stopped, that also kind of changes the cards a little. But that is the best version of that routine I've ever flown. And that routine was always structured as a few key elements and then sort of I know the music well enough to link them together. I may have to watch what you're watching back and start to fully memorize that as top to bottom choreography, because that was not bad. I'm going to have to watch the tape back and see. Maybe when I watch it from your perspective on the camera, I'm going to feel differently about it. But right now, this might have changed everything. So, welcome to real-time training journals, I guess. I'm pretty happy with that, and I think that's a great place to stop dual line. So I'm actually going to go switch for quad, and you guys can watch along while I work through my 2 quad routines, and then that'll be about it.
So back in the card here, this is where you probably expect to see the quad video after me talking the last time. But a couple things happened while I was putting away dual line kites and getting ready to shoot some quad. And the biggest one was both my phone and one of the cameras decided it was too hot to play. And not really surprised in looking at the thermometer on the car dash saying 98 degrees. No music and no tracking camera means no fun and no film. So suffice to say, quad is the one that I need to fly the least. By now I've told the story about how I learned to fly quad a few times, but given how young an age I internalized the basics of quad, it's much easier for me to skip quad practice than dual line practice. I lose it less rapidly. Let's put it that way. So I will go home where it is air conditioned and not climbing up towards the triple digits. And do some finger practice with the music. Some people use kites on a stick. I've always just, done this and looked insane, more insane. So it's back home to do that for, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 minutes, just a few times through of each of the quad line routines. There are still 2 performance quad line routines in my, like I should say, I have more music than that in my, on my jump drive and on my CD that I bring to festivals, but there are 2 routines, that is 2 primary pieces of music that I plan on flying at least once per festival weekend that are somewhat planned out to well planned out. So going to go home and mentally work through the quad line ones. One of them, technically both of them were born for the gin. One of them has been switched to the fulcrum, and I'm working on switching the other. There's just I need to learn to do a move with the fulcrum before I can 100% switch my routine to music from the Fifth Element, which you've seen on the channel a few times. It's that ending So that routine is only for festivals. It will never be a competition routine because that end element is there. It is definitively theatrical. And that ending, the clam roll there, where I dump it over the top on the ending. I have not mastered that yet on the fulcrum, so I'm working that out at the moment. And once I get there with that, then I will. Then that routine will get switched over to being a fulcrum routine full time. So there we are. That is. That's the things. So I guess I will see you back at the house.
Right side, right heel, right hand, right arm.
Soft. Play it soft. You wanna play it hard? Let's play it hard.
Here he is, the one and only winner of the Gemini Croquet Contest. This boy is fused like fire. So start melting, ladies, because the boy is hotter than hot. He's hot. So right side, right heel, right hand, right arm. Right on. And he's got something to say to those 50 billion pair of ears out there. Pop it, D-man.
Hi.
Unbelievable! Wither, ladies, wither. He's gonna set the world on fire. Right here from 5 to 7, you know everything there is to know about that D-man. His dream, his desire, his most intimate of intimates. And from what I'm looking at, intimate is this stud muffin's middle name. So tell me, my man, you nervous in the service?
Not really.
Freeze those knees, might you please, cause Herb's in the place and he's on the case. Yesterday's frog will be tomorrow's prince of Boston Paradise. A hotel of 1,001 follies, lollies, and lick'em lollies, a magic fountain flow of non-stop wine, women, and looking, ooh, all night long. All night long, all night. Ooh. Start licking this dance to the girlies, cause this guy's gonna have you riding home to mama. Right here from 5 to 7, I'll be your voice, you know. And I'll be hot on the trailer, the sexiest man in here. D-man, your man. My man.
We're sending somebody in to negotiate.
Anybody else want to negotiate?
Where did he learn to negotiate like that?
I wonder. your pardon. Excuse me, sorry to barge in. Now let's skip the tears and start on the whole, you know, being dead thing. You're doomed, enjoy the singing. The sword of Damocles is swinging. And if I hear your cell phone ringing, I'll kill you myself. The whole being dead thing. Death can get a person stressed. We should have carped way more deals. Now we're never gonna see them. I can show you what comes next, so don't be freaked. Stay in your seats. I do this like 8 times a week. So just relax, you'll be fine. Drink your $50 wine and take a breath. Welcome to a show about death. You're gonna be fine on the other side. Die, you're all gonna die. You're all gonna die. I'll be your guide to the other side. Oh, in full disclosure, it's a show about death. Everybody gets on fine here, like Rogers, Hart, and Hammerstein here. The women's bathroom has no line here. Just pee where you want. The whole being dead thing. You're just gonna love the folks here. Yeah, I know you're woke, but you can take a joke here. And every show I do like a ton of coke here. The whole being dead thing. Nobody is bulletproof. I work out, I eat clean. Jesus, pass the Dramamine. Time to face the brutal truth. Cause we're all on a hit list. Might not live till Christmas. Choked to death on Triscuits. Hey, that's just statistics. So take a little break here. Kinda like a wake here. The scenery is fake here, but there's a giant snake here. Welcome to a show about death. You're gonna be fine. Thank you. On the other side. How you doing? Oh, not good. Hey, I'll be your guide to the other side. Seriously, though, this is a show about death. It's taboo, but it's hardly something new. There's nothing medical professionals can do. So maybe just feel you. If you die while listening to this album, it's still gonna keep playing. There's no destiny or fate, just a terrifying weight. Filled with people that you hate, and on a certain day the universe kills you. That's the thing with life, no one makes it out alive. Toss that body in the pit. Gosh, it's awful, ain't it tragic? Blah, blah, Bible, Jesus, magic. When you're dead, who gives it? No Pilates, no more yoga. Namaste, you freaking posers. From the cradle to cremation, death just needs a little conversation. I have mastered the art of tearing convention apart. So how about we all make a start on the God, I hope you're ready for a show about death. Well, what an interesting day. It was really productive. I got to fly through the routines, which is huge because I really haven't flown through my my rotation routines, the performance routines I've been doing for a while now, for some time. But it also changed the way I was looking at things for the competition, which is big. I have been struggling with what music to choose and exactly where to sort of put my focus here. So having a kind of aha moment here was big for me. You couldn't tell because kites look the same, but you can see the wings sitting in front of me. I had the standard and my ultralight out. I went from 150 down to 100-pound lines over the course of this. It's a uncooperative wind direction for this field. It's coming over some trees and a building, but it's also good practice. Back in the day, I feel like the middle of the country flyers always had an advantage
because they flew in dirty and light wind, and those of us that are on the coast kind of, well, we'd always just go to a beach and get the clean wind because we had that option. So I've been trying, like I talked about in the last one, to fly in winds that aren't ideal. It's nearly 90 degrees. It's very humid. It's very dense, heavy air. Not dense, but very heavy air. The humidity and everything really lowers the air density, and then that heat doesn't do it any favors. So even though it's maybe at times blowing 6 to 8, it's really not powering up. It wasn't powering up the standard really well. It's also worth noting, I had posted this somewhere on Facebook at one point, but my intentions are no longer the factory frame. I fly a hybrid Aerostuff frame now. So I use Aerostuff Gold S spreaders in my ultralight, and go away fly. And Aerostuff Gold spreaders in my standard with cord tied center tees. So that also changes the performance envelope a bit, and is something that I don't have as much time as I had on the original spreaders still. I made that change back in December. So in that time, I just, like I said at the top of the video, the weather has been super uncooperative this spring and into summer, so I just don't have the time I'd like on those kites. So in general, I'm just kind of like learning my tools, but today was so productive. I can't stress that enough. I really hope you guys are enjoying this and watching the process. As always, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following, sharing. Skyrider Limited exists because people are enjoying it. I enjoy making it, but if it hadn't found an audience, I probably would have stopped by now because, it was for the community and for sharing. And although I guess if one person found something interesting, that'd be cool too. And that it could just be ours. But I'm so stoked that so many of you are enjoying it so far. And as always, it is a pleasure to bring you along on these journeys and to share all this stuff with you. And we will see you out there, Skyrider.